Welcome back to the Hampton Roads Show, everybody. Seeing images like this street flooding after a rainstorm makes us all think about what would happen and how we would protect ourselves and our property should a big storm hit. Joining us now from the National Hurricane Center in Miami with the 5 things you should need to know to stay prepared and keep your family safe are Dr. Rick Knabb, Director of the National Hurricane Center, and Leslie Chapman-Henderson, President and CEO of the Federal Alliance for Safe Homes, or FLASH. Dr. Knabb and Leslie, welcome to Hampton Roads Show. Dr. Knabb, we'll begin with you. What is the difference between general hurricane season and peak hurricane season?
Well, the peak months of the hurricane season historically have been August, September, October. That's when the majority of the really impactful storms, hurricanes, and major hurricanes have affected us. But you can have a really bad impact locally any part of the hurricane season, and no matter what the overall activity levels are like. There's a big difference between how busy it might be overall and how bad it could be where you live, and we're trying to get people to prepare for the next storm or hurricane that could impact them even this year with not just the winds, but the water. Water is what has taken the most lives, done the most damage. It's why you need to evacuate when a storm approaches in most cases. And the water, the flooding, is something people tend to overlook when it comes to insurance.
Okay, Dr. Knabb, we've already seen Arthur and Bertha blow by. What should we expect for the rest of the season?
Oh, we will get more storms and hurricanes. We're not done with the activity for the rest of the hurricane season. We just don't know where those storms and hurricanes are going to go. And because you could experience the direct impacts in your area from one of those storms or hurricanes the rest of this year, you've got to take action now while the weather's good, because as Leslie and Flash will tell you, there's a lot of things that are very difficult, if not impossible, to do when a storm is right on your doorstep.
Let's talk about some of those precautions. Leslie, what can people do to prepare for their hurricane season and in the next couple months?
Well, one of the things people can think about, especially where you are, is flood insurance. We looked in your area, and you've got more than 100,000 families that have flood insurance protection. Unfortunately, you have a lot more families at risk from flooding and flood damage. So flood insurance is an important precaution when the weather is good, because there's a 30-day waiting period to get a flood insurance policy in place, and it's not something that's covered by your ordinary homeowner's insurance, and that comes as a surprise to a lot of people after the storms happen. It's an interesting dichotomy. For more than about $50 a month, you can get the flood insurance in place, but the average cost of flooding in your area, the average claim is over $12,000. So if you think just a couple inches of water, what that would do to your flooring, your electrical, and you balance that against $50 or so per month, we think it's a good investment. And we've never, talking to families after the fact, we've never had an instance where they weren't really happy that they had that protection or pretty sorry that they were without it. So it's just the message we're wanting to bring today as the season heats up and as things become more intense.
This area is surrounded by water, and flooding is a big issue. But Dr. Knabb, what are the 5 steps to peak hurricane season preparedness? Do you know them? If not, I have a list right here with me.
Oh, well, go ahead. Yeah, there are so many lists that we can tap into to think about what you need to be doing. But one thing that I remind people of when I talk about hurricane preparedness is that we at the Hurricane Center are living the problem. And so there are broad categories that I concern myself with as a homeowner and a resident in a hurricane-prone area. I worry about insurance, as Leslie has already described. I go make sure that people know if they live in a hurricane storm surge evacuation zone, and get supplies and do whatever you can to make your home stronger.
Bottom line is always have a plan, be prepared, and stay in front of the game. Dr. Knabb and Leslie Chapman-Henderson, thank you for joining us today on the Hampton Roads Show.
Thank you.
Thank you.